reason for a video. Because this is a Pokestop. Okay? Okay, but first off, there's a really cool lamp here. It belongs to Carnegie, the real Carnegie, the original Carnegie, which a lot of people don't really get to see or understand a whole lot, because they understand it's important because it's an old building, but they don't understand the real true purpose or the historic knowledge behind it, because a great plaque was, I guess, removed from it that explained a little bit about it, which is a really, really damn shame, because a lot of people have erased a lot of history, because this was once, at one point, a school, like a real school, a very hard school to get into, one that caused a great deal amount of drama in the world. That Sir George Washington and a great deal many of, let's see if we can, it's kind of been boarded up in like a really secure way. Yeah, George Washington and actually a few other former presidents will come to this school to learn a little bit about the Constitution. Not a lot of people understand this or know this, but some part of the Constitution was written inside of this building. And it's huge, but you can't see, but it was a part of a school that that taught arithmetic. Let's see, arithmetic. Heretics was a class, but back then, but we don't have a really popular class like that now. Unfortunately, not a lot of colleges have that kind of class. So heretics, politics, what else did I say? Arithmetic, posture, poise, histrionics, what else did it teach? Music class. There was a music class. There was a violin class. There was a piano class, but it was a harpsichord class then. It wasn't a piano class. And you see it says free to the people. And let me tell you why it says free to the people. Because every president ever went to this up until Abraham Lincoln. Not because he was shot in this theater, but because a lot of people that went to this institution took part in a play that set Abraham Lincoln up as a martyr. And it's a very real way of saying that this school was supposed to be free to the people, but they made it into more of a competition for a lot of people to be able to get into. And it's an unfortunate thing, because not a lot of people understand, but some of this plastering, some of this real plastering was done by a different artist. Many artists, and they don't understand, but there was a plaque here that said a person's name a long time ago. And there's more than one ways to tell, but these are all different pomegranates and seashells and roses and some lilacs. There's some pineapple. There's banana. It's kind of like a smorgasbord of different like fruits and vegetables and flowers. There's like lilies in there. I don't know if you can see that. There's ribbons kind of decorating it. It's all sorry, Lando keeps like running around me. It's all very decorative. There's a great deal many problems, unfortunately, with this place. It would be cool to turn it into a bar, my personal opinion, but it needs a lot of TLC. Let's just say that there's a reason for that. So let's see. Okay, let's go see if we can see down. Let's just say that there's something down there that I don't necessarily want to talk about, but there is a music class that got taught down here. And something happened in that music class where, let's just say Tchaikovsky had enough and he threw in the towel and he decided that no president should be allowed to have this kind of power and decided to shut down the school because he thought that handing all these presidents, just all of these presidents power, like the power to like create music and do those things, was just way too much power for some people to to hold, especially when they would just be lazy brained about it and not really do a lot of like full intent on saving a great deal many people. Instead, they did a great deal many intent on, let's just say, preserving a bloodline, more or less, instead of helping out a great deal many of like slaves and so like civilians and people that try to really make a real difference in their lives. And let's just say there's something that happened in this shed and with this door a great deal many times that I'm not necessarily at liberty to talk about or discuss, but let's just say there's some dark histrionics, and a great deer tree has been holding a lot of very dark things in, because this tree has been let's just say a part of a really sick ritual that I'm not happy about. But some lynchings have taken place in the very back of this let's just say ex-school that got turned into a political, let's just say, I'm going to say a rally house for a while, because it was very, like I said, hard to get into, but number one, competitive and kind of torturous in a way that a lot of military people can understand, but not a lot of, let's just say, black and white and like Mexican people and whatever. I don't know. A lot of it has to do with like the 1648 trials, from what I understand, which is a really hard thing to wrap your head around, because it was such a very long time ago, and this is a really old piece of history. But a lot of people want to know what's going on inside this kitchen, because there's a kitchen in here, a really old kitchen with an oven inside it and a radio on top of it, and it kind of speaks a lot to the volume about why and when we might have had to pack up at one point. So I'm a little bit concerned about some of these real life issues that we're dealing with, because a lot of people understand and comprehend minimalism to an extent and a point where we can really pack things up and go in an instant. And there's a reason for that, because there was an incident a long time ago. And like I said, this is really a long time ago and really hard to comprehend. But let's just say there's been ways to create atom bombs for a long time. And let's just say, for example, this building has been put under threat a great deal many times by the idea and the concept of an atom bomb. But at one point, it was actually truly threatened by the idea and a concept of an atom bomb. And let's just say, since that point, the school has been turned into what is just an empty vessel. Not a lot of people have gone into it. So it's kind of like a jumping point of saying, it was closed down for a while, but then it became sort of, let's just say, like a shelter for a lot of people, like a real shelter, like a real life shelter for a lot of people. And a lot of people in this neighborhood don't understand that, or don't have the memory or the wherewithal to be able to look all through the history and look through the history books about some of the stuff. But this was a haven for a real great many people. It turned into a real problem for some people in the city when they found out that this was kind of not a church, but like a real like sanctuary for a lot of people. And it fed a great deal. Many people did a lot of services that some people may not comprehend, even like medical services. So it was for a short amount of time, a hospital, like especially during Pearl Harbor. I don't know if you all understand this or remember this, but Ohio did a lot of nursing during the Ohio, because we sent military people down to protect people in Pearl Harbor. So a lot of the Army people and Navy people remember that, because they were supporting the war effort and trying to make a real rational effort in keeping people alive. So they made this kind of a sanctuary for some of the war efforts, and some of the people kept this place as a ward for hospitals and for psychiatric and medical treatment. Not a lot of people, this is a rare find, let me tell you this, not a lot of people know this, but Freud at one point visited this hospital to come and check a certain Kennedy sister. This is, like I said, a very rare thing that not a lot of people understand or can remember, because it has been so long ago. The Kennedy sister that had a hard time kind of coping with some of the issues that she was dealing with, because a lot of her issues were physical, like quite literally physical. She had physical disabilities that were very difficult for her to cope with and deal with. And so there was a lot of different medical treatments that were supplied and supported throughout the rest of the history. And there's a real American hero right there. This is a very, yeah, no idea. And so not a lot of people understand this, but the psych ward here made a lot of history, but a lot of the books that were formulated and calculated here and written down got burned in a real fire to cover up what she was kind of going through in a real way. And it's a real issue. It's a real problem, because a lot of information was cultivated and found from some of her psychiatric treatment. And it's a real issue because some of it was healthy, and not a lot of people understand that, because they really tried to take care of her a very real way here. But the issue became when something happened, and this is the unfortunate part, because I don't like talking about it. There was a man named George Feather who had a real issue with understanding what racial terms there were going on at the time, because we had a very huge segregation problem. And so there was a real issue and a real threat that this person was going to come in and invade the situation and take advantage of a situation. So we had to move her and transfer her to a different location. And I'm not at liberty to discuss that, because she went to a different location, and I just can't discuss that from there. So there was findings there, but Freud made real remarks on her visit, because he was let's just say, he was there at later age, but he was there. in a real way that not a lot of people understand or can comprehend, because although he might have been in a different location, in a different place, he took a lot of time to think about some of the situations that the world was going through, and he spent a lot of time working on psychological treatment. So much so that he spent a great deal amount of money and time and effort to send out to the Kennedys some information that may or may not have ever gotten through. And that's part of the mystery that I'm trying to uncover, and part of the mystery that I'm trying to figure out, because there's a great deal amount of information that's gone missing, or has been hidden or covered up. And so there's a little bit of a concern I have for the histrionics of some of the people, that some of the people keep spouting, and some of the people just want to decide what is right and what is wrong. So I'm trying to figure out if this is a place that we can reopen and possibly turn into a real free to the people kind of place, where we feed people and we let people have a drink and let people have a read and let people have a listen, and a real music entree, possibly feed many minds and feed many souls with a great many purpose. And because that is the real reason this building was made. And so it's a great shame that nothing has come to it for such a long time, because people have taken care of it for a very long time, but they don't know the real purpose of it. So they're trying to figure out in what way to honor it, and what way to keep it alive, because it's been such a long time that they just can't even fathom or comprehend what happened here. So it's come a long time to say, but this the building has a name, and it's a Greek name, and it's which is a weird way to say that this is a house of the lords and the saviors of the planet and the earth and the guarded ones. And it's a really, really deep meaning and a really, really deep purpose behind this building. And not, like I said, not a lot of people understand this. Like my Lando, he doesn't understand why we're out here. There's no way you can understand why we're out here, huh? There's no way. Because I'm here to tell you. So this is a long way of saying that this building has a lot of meaning and a lot of purpose, but it should be turned into a bar of some sorts that actually hands out free meals and free medical treatment and free music and free knowledge and free advice, because fuck it, dude. Why? Free to the people, man. That's all I gotta say. Love you guys. Bye.